After months of protests, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler sits down for a one-on-one interview with Fox 12. Fox 12's Pete Ferryman spoke with the mayor and has the interview you'll see only on 12.
Mayor Wheeler, thank you very much for joining us. It has been 75 days since we last spoke, and that was on the night or early morning hours of May 30th when Portland saw some of the worst rioting we've seen in recent history. During our conversation, you said it had to end. Now, here we are more than 2 months later, and there is a perception around the country, around the world, that Portland is not safe. And if you walk downtown, you get a sense that it's not the same, and it's not just COVID-19. So the question is, what are you willing to do differently going forward to assure us, the citizens of Portland, that our city is safe and that we can have our city back?
Well, first of all, let me be very clear. People have been pushing hard for change. They're going to continue to push for the kinds of broad change we've been seeing people push for all across the country. And what we've also seen over the course of the last 70 some odd days is that there have been some people engaged in some violence alongside of or in conjunction with people who are non-violently demonstrating. And I think we also have to acknowledge that for that handful of people who are engaged in acts of violence throughout the city of Portland, then we have to isolate those individuals where we can do so safely. We need to arrest them and we need to hold them accountable.
Well, as of today, Portland police have arrested roughly 479 people. All but a handful are right back out on the street. So we have this revolving door of criminal justice. How can there be justice for anyone when you have this revolving door and there's no consequences for people who commit criminal acts?
Well, I think one thing that we've all learned over the last 70 some odd days is that it takes all of us to solve this problem. It requires not just law enforcement, but also elements of the community. And I think people understand that it's going to take more than just me as mayor, but it's also about the larger criminal justice system. It's about providing economic opportunity to people who feel economically dislocated during these times. And it's about accountability.
Earlier today, as you know, the Multnomah County DA announced a new set of policies regarding certain crimes surrounding the protests, essentially stating that they will no longer be prosecuting certain crimes surrounding the protests. I spoke with a veteran member of the senior command staff at Portland Police Bureau earlier today, and I want to read you this quote. He says, those charges, referring to the ones now that will not be prosecuted. Those charges are the very tools that allow us to bring violence to an end. Officers who are risking their lives will face violent criminals who are now emboldened to increase their violence and their violent behavior. What is your response to that?
Well, first of all, we are still going through the new district attorney's statement that was just released. So I'm not ready to say today that I think it endangers the lives of law enforcement or that it in any way restricts our ability to hold people accountable. So I'd like to have the opportunity to actually thoroughly review his proposal from a legal perspective and then give you my feedback based on a thorough review rather than an emotional assumption about what it is or what it isn't.
The same senior command staff member, as well as another senior member of law enforcement in the community, they say that you are governing the city from a position of fear. And I'm going to quote him. He says that a vast silent majority of Portlanders share that fear. Like you, they believe in reform. They strongly believe in the need to eliminate racism, eliminate injustice. But they also know that if they disagree even slightly with the agenda for achieving these very same goals, that they will be crushed, they will be doxxed, their businesses will be boycotted. What's your response to that?
I don't believe that at all. Again, we're in a time where there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of economic uncertainty. So people are justifiably fearful. And I get that, I understand that, and I share that. But what I also want people to do is fall back on the facts. This is not the time for us as Americans or Portlanders to panic and get emotional. This is the time for us to start sliding our chairs into the table, be bold, take the steps we need to take to actually make headway against these issues. That's what I'm committed to doing. That's what my administration is committed to doing. And I welcome the community to join us.